Hello, welcome to the Vern Casey ScorchCast. I am your host, Alex Blackburn, here to bring you the biggest Kansas City sports news. Tonight, we just have a few things to go over. We've got fall camp up and running for the college kids. A few things to go over there. A bit of Chiefs headlines as well from training camp need to be discussed. And we have some Royals news and a few other minor things to go over. But other than that, really a short show tonight. So strap in, sit tight, enjoy. I hope you get something out of it. I hope you get something out of every ScorchCast. I do my best to bring you the good KC sports news. So let's dive in, shall we? Right. Starting with some college football. Fall camp is officially upon us. The teams are back on campus practicing for the upcoming season, seeing where everyone fits, and overall just getting a feel for what rosters will look like come late August when the season officially starts. And the Kansas camp, Jalen Daniels looks fully healthy and ready for his last dance as college quarterback for the Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas offensive line looks as big as they've been. If you've seen the pictures of these dudes, they're beefy boys. Let's just say that. Kansas State is not the only Kansas school with that good old Kansas beat. So be on the lookout for that. That's a major plus for the health of Jalen Daniels and just really the health of this offense. Bryce Foster adding to that with SEC strength will be a major help. So big things to come for the Kansas offensive line. According to sources, also, the young phenom edge rushers Dak Brinkley and DJ Warner are both getting heavily involved and look stout, as has the veteran secondary. My apologies. So Kansas defense, it's still going to be a question mark, especially at the linebacker position. But overall, it's not looking too terribly bad. I'm hoping that they can take a step up from last year. Obviously, you lost a couple of key pieces. Austin Booker, Gage Keys, Craig Young being the kind of main three there, Kenny Logan as well. It's going to be an adjustment, but I think Brian Borland has something good in mind and has the tools in coaching to be able to make something work out of what he has as far as defensive personnel this year. Obviously, By Job being kind of the transfer portal edition, the main transfer portal edition. It's going to be something. Anyway, for the Wildcats, Avery Johnson looks like he's put on some muscle since last season, looking bigger and throwing more confidently. Kansas State's offensive line is coming into its own, which is another major plus for a unit that lost quite a few key pieces last year. For the Wildcat defense, as stated before, their depth at every level will be massive, and they will be one of the strongest defenses in the conference. So far, that's ringing true with lots of different combos being thrown out there. The secondary, Jacob Parrish is kind of the lead guy for the Wildcat secondary this year. They also look to make a name for themselves in a conference that has a couple of pretty good secondaries, like the one I mentioned before. It's gonna be an interesting year for the Sunflower Showdown. I think this is going to be the most competitive. I mean, if you thought last year's Sunflower Showdown was competitive, this one could very well turn out to be one of the marquee matchups of the college football season. But going across state lines to the Missouri Tigers. The Tigers, I'm not really hearing a whole lot on that front. Obviously, their passing game will be their bread and butter this season. But in terms of run game and their defense, which, last year's departures left a significant hole in that front, it's kind of tough to tell what the Tigers are going to do. They will likely go back to the two-back run game with the addition of Georgia State transfer Marcus Carroll and then stalwart Nate Noel. Both have the ability to be 1,000-yard rushers. They've proven it. And I expect them to kind of split the carries, split the work, and be a force this year once again, supporting that passing game. Which, I mean, when you got Luther Burden, you've got a scary passing game. So I'm really intrigued to see where the Tigers passing game goes. As far as the defense goes, uh, actually, before I get to the defense, you could also potentially expect to see Jamal Roberts, young buck, as an underclassman, get some carries as well. Jamal Roberts is showing a lot of promise. For the defense, though, the secondary needs to rebuild heavily. Marvin Burks, Shamar McNeil, and Jamarian Wayne are kind of the three main names I'm hearing as day one starters. Tristan Newsome will replace Tyron Hopper, and it sounds like in order to replace Darius Robinson, it's just going to be via committee thing. It's going to be really tough to to cover the gap that Darius Robinson left, because he is again just another fantastic Missouri Tiger lineman. Um, just on a long line of Tiger defensive linemen that have made the jump to the NFL and have just carved out legendary college careers. One more thing that I did want to mention about the Jayhawks, though, new offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes was kind of a question going in. I don't think he's nearly as much of a question now. He's leaning heavily into the passing game. He's going to utilize the wide receivers a lot more, which, a lot of people, when they heard, oh, he's a very aggressive, run heavy guy, people were kind of worried about. But I think with Jim Zabrowski there, kind of leading that charge in terms of being kind of an advocate for the passing game, it's going to be two guys working very, very well off each other. So be on the lookout for this Kansas offense this season. I mean, they're really good in college football 25, but they'll be really good in real life too. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to the Chiefs. Got a little bit to talk about there, not a ton, but let's talk about it. Right, kind of going over some Chiefs news now. Preseason starts tonight with the Hall of Fame game. It's not the Chiefs, though. The Chiefs preseason kicks off 1 week from Saturday on August 10th. But it's just good to have football back. I'm currently got the Texans and Bears, the Hall of Fame game, on in the background. And yeah, it's preseason football, and there are not, there's no starters, but I do get to see my boy Austin Booker play from the Kansas Jayhawks, so that's pretty exciting. He's playing on the Bears, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I'm also looking forward to seeing if there are any other Kansas Jayhawks that make an appearance throughout the preseason. Obviously, Dominic Pooney will likely make an appearance with the 49ers, but Austin Booker was that just him on the tackle? No, it was not. Anyway, back to the Chiefs. Obviously, we talked some headlines last week. Not much has changed on that front. Kadarius Toney did get hurt again, and Justin Watson has not returned, to my knowledge. I haven't really heard much of an update on his injury either. I think I did see. My apologies. I think I did see. Um, I think I saw that it was something to do with his Achilles. I'm hoping not, but if I remember right, that's what I saw. I'll have to look that up and see what his status is. But to my knowledge, nothing much has been said regarding him, and the guys that were getting starter reps this past week still are. Um, Obviously, you got a few surprises there with Nico Remigio, Luis Rizana, and a couple others getting some one reps. Defensively, though, not much has changed. Rookie Jaden Hicks and second year guy Shamari Connor are working the safety position outside, or excuse me, opposite Justin Reed very well. Corners are battling it out for the top dog, but the front seven's pretty much the same. I mean, you got Chris Jones, you got goodness me, you got Chris Jones, you got George Karlaftis, Mike Dana, all those guys line it up to be one of the best defensive lines in the NFL this year. I mean, it's business as usual. Oddly enough, though, it's the special teams that I have the most intrigue for this upcoming season. With the new kickoff rules, the Chiefs have been experimenting. Louis Rees-Zammit offered new opportunities. Nico Remigio has been back there getting a lot of reps. And overall, it's going to be an interesting change. And it's going to be interesting to see, what guys get a new shot in this system, what guys can adjust to this system. The kickoff return has been somewhat of a struggle since Tyreek Hill left. So, in punt return for that matter. But it's that Austin Booker that just got juked out for the. Sorry, I need to continue paying attention. My apologies. Oddly enough, though, the Chiefs have been experimenting and getting ahead of the game, and I think that's massively important. This is what the Chiefs are kind of doing, and just kind of moving parts around and testing a few things. That wasn't Austin Booker, by the way. Austin Booker wears number 94, and that's number 92. But it's very interesting to see the Chiefs experimenting with many different parts. I think it's going to be Zammit and Remigio being kind of the guys this year in terms of kickoff return, but we'll see who kind of lines up on that initial line to line. Uh, that's kind of what the Chiefs are doing, though. I can't wait to see what they've been cooking up this upcoming preseason. But let's get on to the Royals. Got some more headlines there, some good headlines. So stay tuned. Okay. All right. Let's talk the Royals. The Royals are continuing their winning ways, narrowly sweeping the White Sox, and currently, at least from what I saw last, beating the Tigers 4-1. Vinny Pasquantino, Bobby Witt Jr., and Salvador Perez have been the hot bats as of late, but it's the pitching that's kind of made the major changes that need to be discussed. For one, Alec Marsh not only got demoted as a starter, but he got sent back to AAA Omaha. I, for one, am baffled at that. I thought for sure he'd at least stay on as a reliever. This being said, though, there is a reason for that. The Royals have added a few new arms at the deadline, adding Hunter Harvey, Michael Lorenzen, and the newest addition, Lucas Ursig. Ursig has already been seeing some playing time and is quickly emerging as the top starter in the rotation. Harvey and Lorenzen, where they'll fit will be interesting. The Royals clearly feel like they're better than Alec Marsh, but I haven't seen either guy really pitch for them as of yet. We'll see where they fit, I suppose. The Royals also added a batter and a fielder, though, with veteran shortstop Paul DeJong trading dugouts during the White Sox series. DeJong will be an added boost and will hopefully help in the postseason run along with the added arms. As for who the Royals gave up, no one really super duper important. Uh, I say that sounds so mean, but I mean that's the business of sport. But Royals gave up pitchers Mason Barnett, Will Klein, and John McMillan. Barnett and Klein went to the A's, and McMillan still has yet to pick up an offer. They had a couple trade designations for him. We'll see where he goes, but the White Sox didn't want him, so away he went, I guess. But you know, that's just the business of baseball. Baseball free agency is so weird. But Royals look like they got a great reliever in Lucas Erceg. He pitched very, very well. So I'm excited for that. And I'm excited for this potential postseason run for the Royals. They are 2 games ahead of the Red Sox in the wild card race and could have a very, very, very big game against, or big series against the Twins coming up in about a month. The Twins are right there with them in terms of the wild card spot. It's going to be an interesting race to the finish. I'm hoping that the Royals can at least jump the Twins, but I'm also hoping that they can win the division because fingers crossed. Sorry, Sarah. The Guardians are kind of being inconsistent right about now. Last time I checked, they're losing today, and they've had some pretty bad losses as of late. So fingers crossed. Anyway, let's move on to some minor news, and we'll go ahead and wrap up. Like I said, short show. Alrighty. Now, let's talk about a few other minor things, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up, shall we? Soccer-wise, not much going on with the Olympic break. A few international games for the Current have the Current continuing to be in top form, winning all of them thus far. Sporting does not have any games after, or excuse me, Sporting does not have any games until after the break is over. Hopefully the rest will turn things around for Sporting. Might be a little too late, but for the Current, they're right at the top of the NWSL table. They'll be right in the playoffs, and it's going to be a good watch, I would say. I'm really hoping that we can get revenge on the Orlando Pride. That's all I ask. And speaking of the Orlando Pride, Marta got a red card that was very well deserved. So, how's that, Marta? I'm still salty about that game. I am. Anyway, speaking of the Olympics, congratulations to the USA women's rugby sevens team for winning bronze in Paris this past week. The US is up to 30 total medals last I checked. However, only 9 gold. Let's continue to cheer on the US athletes as they compete. Here's to hoping for some more gold in the US's future. Kate Ledecky being her dominant self. The basketball team is getting absolutely just every win possible. And it doesn't feel like the US has only 9 gold. It feels like they got a lot more, but I digress. In some more rugby news, though, some Blues news for you. The preseason meeting was rescheduled due to the Waldo Library losing power. It will now be August 7th at 7 p.m. Head to the Waldo Library and mark your calendars if you're interested. That's our show, though. Thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, super, super short show today. Website changes are coming, though, next week. So be prepared and tune in. Royals just won 7-1, by the way. Let's go, Royals. Another big step in the journey towards the postseason. Fantasy football 2 will also be in stores, so tune in and be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna have that up here pretty soon. Not sure when, but soon. And just overall, thank you for joining me. This has been the Burn KC ScorchCast. I have been Alex Blackburn signing off. Have a great night.